97.1. So, I'm going to be selfish. Not going to say hi to Rieger. I don't even want to look at Hatchet for what he said to me before the show. So, I'm just going to go into what I want to talk about. And it might work, it might not. I really don't care. Just going to get it off my chest and do what I want to do for once. I want to cite today officially as the death of Michigan State football. I really think Mark Dantonio probably needs to hire a PR firm to teach him what to say and what not to say. Today, if what Mark Dantonio said is true, marks the end of Michigan State football as we have come to enjoy it. Mark Dantonio got up on a podium and had the audacity after the worst season in almost 40 years of Michigan State football, a team that's on a 3-year trend statistically of getting worse, got up and said there will be no staff changes. There will be no changes in duties. It's completely embarrassing. And what I offer to you at 248-539-9797 is to tell me whether you believe what I believe. I believe right here and now we've seen the last of Michigan State winning anything of relevance. That we've seen the last of Mark Dantonio walking softly and carrying a big stick. That we've seen the last of Michigan State going to Indy. That we've seen the last of Michigan State going to the college football playoff. That Mark Dantonio is now entering his Les Miles, Jeff Fisher phase. The get-off-my-lawn guy. The stubborn, refuse-to-adapt guy. The I've built up enough cachet, so now I'm going to cash it in guy. And when you go out through the history of sports and college and pro football, it rarely works out. He's taken a bullet for his staff, and in reality, the staff should take the bullet for him. Michigan State does not have a good enough staff to continue to win the way that all of us, myself included, have become accustomed to winning. Dave Warner is a nothing. He is a non-entity at the college football level. No one wants Dave Warner. Harlan Barnett, Jim Bowman, Mark Snyder, they are all nothings. You could say they were part of a staff that took a team to the playoff. What I would tell you is we had one of the all-time gamers who hid the foibles of a mediocre staff in Connor Cook. I watched the games. Did you? Oh, but they went to the Rose Bowl. Yeah, they had Pat Narduzzi, who made, $1 million a year, and then got hired away. And who did we replace him with? Nothing. Staffers. We took the box boys and we made them the head chef. So here, I'll say it. I'll be the Antichrist to all Spartan fans who want to sit there and tell me just how wonderful things will be and how it's one bad year, and they'll deny all statistical evidence that I have brought up year in and year out of how MSU and Mark Dantonio is being hoed out by a mediocre staff. They got a couple guys on staff that are decent. The rest of them, they could disappear into the night and nobody would care. Today, what Dantonio did and what he said marked the end. R.I.P. to Michigan State football. I know it's December. I know it's not a hot-button issue. I know many of you don't care. You know what? I don't care that you don't care. I'm going to take 10 minutes and do this because it's what I feel. 248-539-9797. Your challenge is simple. Tell me how you feel. Because Dantonio and a staff that refuse to adapt, that refuse to evolve, I think it's over. Unless you have NFL players to hide your foibles, can't win like this. And just like Jeff Fisher never adapted his offense, just like Les Miles never adapted, it's going to end the same way. I think Mark is a coach who knows he's going to retire in a few years. I think he wants to treat his guys like sons. He wants to ride out with loyalty to his people. And ultimately, it's going to cost him. I don't believe MSU's bouncing back next year to something big. We have inferior schemes. schemes that people have caught up to. We could argue it. You'll lose. But I offer you today, it's just that simple. December 15th, 2016. I think we're dead. Very, very sad day for me. My coach, who has been a rock in my sporting life here for almost a decade, I think Dantonio's going down a bad path here. 248-539-9797. May as well delete that drop from the bank.
Michael.
More Dave Warner giving away what play we're running.
Don't you think you're being a little overdramatic?
Nope. I warned you at the end of this season, if nobody got fired, if changes weren't made, we'd be in a tough spot. And Dantonio doubled down.
The quote, by the way, was, no, there will be no changes in terms of who's coaching what.
We have the worst special teams coordinator in the country. Mark Snyder, our coordinator, is an embarrassment. Our kick return unit sucks. Our punt return unit, I can't even say it sucks because we never get to return a punt because nobody blocks or does anything, and we have some kid named Bob Sowards who stands there and catches the ball. We don't block field goals. We don't block punts. We don't do anything. That guy's not going to lose his job? That guy? How about Jim Bowman? Does anyone know what Jim Bowman does? Most people thought Jim Bowman died when he left OSU. No. We've been stashing away his body for several years. Look, it's a credit to Harbaugh. It's a credit to Urban. It's a credit to Franklin, who I don't like. Neighborhood's gotten tougher. Sports changed a lot in the last 3-4 years. And MSU peaked in 13. It's over. I am expecting the darkness to roll into East Lansing now. Because Mark Dantonio is existing in a world with a $400,000 offensive coordinator, and at real places, real coordinators are making more than twice that. You know, you can sell me whatever you want to sell me on. You could tell me, but wait, we went to the Cotton Bowl. Guys, look at it as 13 was the peak. Was the team better or worse 13 to 14? Worse. Was the team better or worse 14 to 15? Worse. Got lucky, made the playoff. And 15 to 16, I don't even need to sell you. It's the worst year of my lifetime. It's one of the most embarrassing seasons in the history of college football. You went from the playoff to 3-9. It's unacceptable. People lose their jobs. And for Dantonio not to act, it's an exercise in obstinance. And he gets to be stubborn. He makes enough money where he's allowed to be stubborn. I'm just telling you, I think it's going to bite him in the ass.
He's also had enough success where he's allowed to be stubborn. 1 year. 1 year. Can't you give him 1 year?
No. If you go name another program that went to the playoff or finished in the top 5 year over year over year, and they went out 3-9 and made no staff changes. Tell me another program that would happen.
I don't know.
No. Just answer it. You can't.
I can't. Well, I don't know.
You can't. You can't.
I don't know.
You can't even believe it's happening in East Lansing. But it is.
It's a little surprising, without a doubt.
Because Mark's undying loyalty to his friends and Mark's undying loyalty to all the guys that he promoted from within or all had the same resume and guys who vouched for them. He doesn't want to turn on those guys. And the problem is those guys are the reasons he's going to begin failing. Our defensive scheme, people have caught up to. They understand it. And without NFL talent, we can't run it. But we keep doing it. Our offensive scheme, everyone knows what it is. But without an NFL QB, you won't be able to exist. You won't be able to do it. Everybody wants to play football like Alabama used to. The difference is Alabama can tell you what they're doing because they have better people than you have. So they will line up and they'll do what they want with you. It's embarrassing. MSU tries to sell to their fans they're going to be elite, raise prices on everything, tailgating rules on everything, seat licenses, all that stuff. Well, then you know what's not elite? Having a lousy offensive coordinator like Dave Warner. Dave Warner could offer his services for half of his current salary. He could chop his salary from $400K to $200K, and not a single Power 5 program would hire him as their OC. Bet me. It's embarrassing, and I think Dantonio's loyalty is going to bite him. I really think today does mark the end for us. If you want to call in, great. If you don't, that's great too. 248-539-9797. I got to take care of some business. We'll hear more from Rieger next.